It was literally a case study dating men. Like, it's like, you need to pull out a pen and paper because it's some good stuff. It's some good quality content that comes from dating men. Okay. Action. All right. You guys, how you feeling the hair? I've been trying to wear my natural hair out more often, and I usually don't wear my natural hair out in the summer just because it gets very big, but you know, what's wrong with big things? This video, I just really wanted to sit down and talk about why I'm single, why I've been single for like, how many years? Let's see, like 4 years now. I've been single all my life, but I've definitely become more single over the past 4 years, meaning that, you know, I've cut out all romantic relationships. So I'm not seeing anybody. I don't have no situationships. I'm not texting nobody consistently. I'm not sharing romantic energy with anybody currently. That's my definition of truly being like single. But anyways, let's get into this video. I wrote down in my notes kind of like to keep me on track because I do tend to ramble often. So you guys, I'm going to start off by saying, you know, there is a certain knowledge you must have and certain skill sets I feel like you must have in order to maintain your sanity when dating nowadays. Like dating in general, no matter what year it's been, I feel like there has always been challenges, but especially nowadays, I feel as if there's a certain way you have to be and a certain skill set and knowledge you have to have in order to actually have good romantic, you know, relationships with people, because I feel like in my experience, I did not have that prior knowledge before, you know, starting to date, and it definitely caused me to have very negative dating experiences, you know. So I want to start off by saying that, you know, lacking some of these skill sets that you're supposed to, you know, learn in childhood, and you're supposed to learn what healthy relationships are supposed to look like during childhood. You're supposed to, you know, learn that from the various relationships you're around, the various adults you're around and things like that. But because I did not have that, I didn't grow up knowing what to look for and what was appropriate and what to stay away from and things like that. And, you know, men can definitely tell when you lack these skill sets. Men are very spiritual, regardless of whether they acknowledge it or not. Like, they are very spiritual, and they can definitely pick up when a woman is not in tune with herself and is lacking these skill sets. So I feel like the men I was attracting were definitely of the lower vibrations, all right? And, you know, I really had to kind of like take a pause from everything in order to go internally to you know, fix and try to work on the things that, you know, was causing me to attract these men. Because I was thinking to myself, I'm just like, why am I only attracting goons? Like, they are out to get me. Like, what is wrong? Like, what in me allows them to feel comfortable enough to approach me? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of way I was thinking. It's so funny, you guys, because, you know, the type of romantic relationships I found myself in my early 20s. Wait a minute, you guys, I gotta put on my glasses right quick because I hear something over here. Maybe I'm tripping. Anyways, you guys, it's so funny because during my early 20s, I'm still in my early 20s, you guys, but earlier 20s, you know, I was dating so wrong, and I wasn't dating for the right reasons. I wasn't attracting the right people, and therefore, you know, I had like negative experiences. There's still experiences, you guys, and they still allowed me to learn and grow from them. But I really wish that I had a chance during my early, you know, dating years to experience the good side of dating, you know. But because I had these things internally I needed to work on that I was refusing to work on because I was focusing all my time and energy on other people, you know, my dating experiences were trash. Okay, let's just keep it honest. I swore up and down that I would never, you know, be in a relationship that is toxic, or be in a relationship where the dude doesn't really care for me, yada yada. I swore up and down that I would never find myself in a relationship like that, but it's easier said than done. And because when you are lacking these like skill sets and this knowledge, and you're going in dating, starting to date like with a lack of knowledge and curiosity and, you know, just naiveness, if that's a word, you know, it's easier for you to experience, you know, the negative sides of dating, because you don't really know what to look for, you don't know what to stay away from, you don't know where to set your boundaries and things like that. And that can be very dangerous when it comes to, you know, being involved with anybody, regardless of the relationship. You know, knowing how to, you know, be in a relationship or have relationships is very important. When you grew up in a household that, you know, wasn't the best household to grow up in to teach you how to have healthy relationships, you know, that carries on in adulthood. And unless you're trying to actively unlearn the things that you were taught, the things that you saw, the things that you learned as a child, you know, it's very easy to follow in your parents' footsteps when it comes to, you know, having relationships with people, regardless of the type of relationship, whether that be romantic or, you know, just platonic. So I found myself not really knowing where to set boundaries. You know, it was just not it, you guys. It was not it during my early dating years, because I lacked this prior knowledge and I didn't know really how to carry myself when it came to, you know, guys and boys and men and yada yada yada. Specifically, if you date men, there's a way, I've learned over the years, there's a way you have to be, and there's a type of like vibe you have to have, and there's a type of knowledge you have to have in order to actually, like, you know, be able to weed out the bad ones, you know, be able to maintain sanity when dealing with the bad ones, you know, that, you know, portray themselves as good at first. Like, there's just a certain knowledge you have to have when navigating through romantic relationships. You can't just come all and bubbly, you know, and thinking everything's sweet, you know, because not everything is sweet, you know, basing your entire, you know, what you think about romantic relationships off of books and movies and yada yada yada, because sometimes it's very different, you know. So during my early dating years, I feel as if I was following in the same footsteps as, you know, the adults that I were around during my childhood years. And that is something, like, even growing up when I was a teenager, I told myself I would never, but because I wasn't actively trying to unlearn those things and learn new things about relationships and things like that, I followed in the same footsteps because that's all I knew, you know. And I didn't, like, you do it subconsciously. You don't actively be like, I'ma just follow in the footsteps of my parents. No, like, you do it subconsciously, because all of those things that you saw and experienced when you were a child, and sometimes you didn't even experience, you watched, you know, people that you looked up to experienced it, you know, those are all getting downloaded, especially when you were a child. Like, all those things are getting downloaded. So, like, subconsciously you just act in the same ways that your parents did, or the adults in your life, or your family members did. And so that's what I found myself doing. And during this whole period, you guys, of me, you know, having these very toxic, very, like, low level relationships, romantic relationships, like, my life, like, was just so chaotic. It was so chaotic because I was inviting that type of energy into my life and things like that, and I could not pinpoint why my life was going the way it was going. And it was all because of who I was allowing into my space, who I was sharing myself with, yada yada yada. You really are the company you keep. Like, I will literally stress that to the ends of the earth, you guys. You are the company you keep, and you take on what you're around. You know, you are your environment. You really are. Like, it just relates to, you know, some type of animals, you know, only grow to the certain extent of their enclosure. You know, some plants, you know, when you put them in a small pot and they are trying to grow, they become sick, you know. So it's just important to know when it's time for you to grow, and when it's time for you to let things go, and when it's time to change pots, change enclosures, yada yada yada. Sorry guys, I gotta do my scan every once in a while. making sure. Y'all be so paranoid sometimes. But anyways, what I was saying, the exposure got all weird. It really does take strength to stop a cycle, and I felt like I was like repeating the same cycle of like knowing that I had to cut off, you know, romantic relationships, and I had to focus on myself, because, you know, some people can focus on themselves and still, you know, have romantic relationships and things like that. But I, for one, was putting all my energy into romantic relationships and even platonic relationships. Like, I feel like I was so uncomfortable with being alone. Like, I had to have someone in my corner, someone in my space at all times. And it definitely took strength for me to stop. And once I did, you know, it was amazing to see kind of how things changed for me in my personal life and things like that. I literally said I would never be a woman who was a pushover, who, you know, let a man, you know, control the way, you know, she viewed herself or the way she showed up for herself. But it's very easier said than done. Being a tolerable woman, being a quiet woman, a pushover, those are not adjectives I would describe the woman I wanted to be. A change had to happen. And you guys, I realized very early on that dating, you know, men, the wrong type of men at that, or dating the wrong type of person in general, you guys, can be so detrimental to like your health in all aspects, you know, your physical health, mental, your emotional health. You guys, I remember I was dating this broke dude one time, okay? And I say he was broke not because he had, well, because he had lack of funds, you know. I think that's the definition of being a broke. But, you know, whenever he would get funds in, he would spend it on all the wrong reasons. So he was the broke type of man who loved to spend, you know, on all the wrong things and not reinvest that money into himself or into things that he needed. He always wanted to get the things that he wanted. And I, you know, was seeing him. We wasn't dating seriously, but, you know, this was sort of like a situationship, a serious situationship. You know, we never made things official, but it was still like that, you know. But yeah, like, because he was, you know, in this kind of like stage where he was in a constant need energy, I felt myself taking on the provider type energy, and that took me so much out of my feminine nature that I wanted to be in, you know. And you guys, I was a college student. I'm still a college student, so I wasn't that well off either, but I feel like I was smarter when it came to finances and the things that I needed and wanted. I was very smart about that, and he was very, very much like very just threw away his money, and he would buy a couple of grams before he would feed himself. And I felt like I was like taking on this provider role, and, you know, he needed a place to stay, he, you know, lost his car, yada yada yada. He was, all the things that he lost and all the position that he found himself in was all because he put himself there. You know, it wasn't just because bad luck, it wasn't because he was, you know, trying, but, you know, he was just going through a rough patch. All the things that he was dealing with and all the, you know, things that this broke man was experiencing was because of his bad choices. And I was taking on this provider role, and it was draining so much energy out of me. But at the time, I didn't realize it, how much energy it was draining from me. Like, being in a relationship, especially your early dating life, is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be you taking on a role of trying to provide for someone.
Miss Chrissy, please report to the front. Miss Chrissy, report to the front.
You guys, I'm also outside of a school. This is a school's park, so that is what that announcement was. But anyways, you guys, what was I saying? Yeah, I was taking on this provider role and things like that, and that is not something that I would want any young person to do. No person in general, but like, your early dating years are supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to be worrying about how you're gonna feed somebody, you know, especially if you don't have any children. If you don't have any children, why are you taking on this provider role? And that's what I was asking myself. As someone who personally experienced being with a broke man, okay? A man who was struggling, okay? I will first-handedly tell y'all it's a trap when men say, I want a woman who's going to be there when I'm struggling. I want a woman who's going to struggle with me, yada yada. That's a trap, okay? Because you are not required to struggle with anybody, okay? I want to let y'all know that you are not required to struggle for anybody, and you do not have to show your love for someone by, being a provider for them when they're struggling, especially if y'all aren't official, especially if that's not what you want, especially if the relationship ain't all that, especially if y'all haven't made things official. You guys, I was providing for this man who could not call me his girlfriend. That is wild to me. A man who truly wants a future with you, I feel like won't be comfortable, dating or trying to, sweep a woman off their feet when they are not okay, financially or emotionally. If they're not stable, they're not trying to graft anybody. They're not trying to go after anybody. They're trying to focus on their finances. They're trying to focus on, getting up there and things like that. They're not going to be focused on, girls. You don't have to show a man you love them by struggling with them, but you can struggle with a man that you love. I want to make that clear. It's nothing wrong. I know well-off couples now that have gone through rough patches together, but what I'm saying is early on, if you're struggling with the man, if y'all are dating, if y'all are, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, especially if you find yourself struggling more when you're in his energy. If you were struggling before and you meet somebody and y'all fall in love and he's kind of struggling too, and then y'all come together, that's okay for the most part, but like, when y'all are early on, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be you stressing and things like that. And I found myself stressing more financially when I was with this man. So you guys, it's literally a trap when a man goes around praising women who stay with men, or pair up with men, and so they can be in this struggle energy together. Like, you do not have to do that. And that is something that, like, I wish I could go back in time to tell myself, because I was actually doing myself such a disservice, because I was actually putting myself in that same energetic field as him. I became broke just like him. He wasn't adding anything to my life. He was taking away the little that I had, as a college student. And I met plenty of men like this. Men start off very, very early trying to find another mother in a woman that they're dating. I chose to not have kids, therefore I am not mothering anyone, all right, until I make that choice, if I ever to have a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is just not me. Yes, as a woman, like, I feel like we're natural nurturers, but I'm not trying to be no mother to anybody. I feel like I really haven't been out here dating for such a long time, because I feel like I've learned all I needed to learn in order to, heal, to regroup, so that when I do put myself back out there in the dating scene, I know how to handle them. I know how to handle myself. I know when to cut them off. I know when to cut them on. I know when to, leave. I know when to, work through things. I know how to communicate. I know, and it's still taking some time. I'm still regrouping, you guys, because I put myself through an accelerated course when it came to, men and dating and relationships. So it's going to take me some time, okay? Okay? But I'm so glad that I learned these things very early on, because I know people that are so much older than me that are still, having these very negative experiences when it comes to dating and things like that. And I think that's just a sign that they have to go within, and they have to kind of focus on themselves, and they have to learn a few things, yada yada yada. Once I stopped dating, I realized how peaceful I can be just in my own energy. I learned that I really didn't need anyone to make myself happy. I'm very much like happy in my own energy, and that is something that I want everyone to experience, to just be able to come to parks alone by yourself, make a video, or just stretch, yada yada yada. It's getting hot out here, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, so I'm probably gonna turn in soon, but it's still very, very just like just at peace with yourself, just doing things by yourself, just being peaceful. So the peace that I feel now that I've stopped dating and things like that, and it's been years since I've, you know, really seriously dated or, you know, really let men into my energetic field and things like that, I felt so much peace. And this is the type of peace that I wouldn't mind experiencing for more years to come, you know, until I find someone who adds to the peace or adds to my life instead of, you know, takes away, you know. So that is kind of where I'm at, you know. Dating is not everything, okay? There is so much other avenues you can take to seek happiness and fill your life with, you know, exciting things and pleasurable experiences. There are so many things you can do in order to seek this. And I feel like some people confuse, you know, wanting to date and wanting to have a relationship with, you know, just wanting to, you know, seek community and want to seek love and things like that. Like, you really have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, why are you seeking a relationship? Why do you want a relationship so bad? You know, and sometimes you can get to the center of it to say, well, I just want a friend, or I just want a community, I want love, things like that. And there's other avenues you can take to get that, you know. You don't have to subject yourself to low vibrating men, okay? Until I truly find a partner where I can just be my true authentic self with, that allows me to continue growing with myself and allows me to grow with them as well, you know, I'm okay with being alone. And I want more people to know that, you know, this is okay. This is an okay route to take. And I feel like this generation is really beginning to realize that. And I feel like men are getting scared of this, because us women, we are so powerful. If we were not powerful, the patriarchy would not exist to keep us, you know, humbled, or lack of a better word, humbled. These men are shaking in their boots because we are beginning to, you know, figure it out again, that, you know, we are such powerful beings and we do not have to subject ourselves to, you know, misogyny and men who don't allow us to grow and don't allow us to be our truest authentic self, to keep us in a box, to keep us controlled. They're beginning to realize this, and that's why more men are coming out with these podcasts. They're getting scared, they're shaking in their boots. So instead of wondering, you know, I kind of changed like where my focus was in life. And instead of me wondering, you know, where the man at, you know, are they gonna be boys there, who gonna be there, you know, I started to kind of dive into my own power and things like that. And it's very, very, very rewarding to just dive into the power you have and to be more magnetic and to just dive into femininity and dark femininity. It's just so rewarding to just discover all aspects of femininity in general, and just being a woman, whatever that means to you specifically. I'm just loving it. I'm just loving diving into the woman that, you know, I know myself to be and that I see myself being and what I want myself growing out to be and things like that. So all in all, you guys, I think the reason why I stopped dating for years on end and still have not really gone back is because I just simply got tired of the only things that I was learning from, you know, my dating and my romantic relationships, or the things to look out for when it came to dating men. You know, I wanted to learn, you know, what are the things to value in a romantic relationship? What are the things to look for? And that is not something I feel like I was getting from my romantic relationships. So I was just like, what is the point? Because I've already learned all the negative aspects I need to learn, and I've already learned all the things I need to stay away from. So what else is there? You know, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna take what I've already learned from my romantic relationships and I'm gonna just kind of rest on it. You know, I'm gonna digest it. I'm going to, you know, learn from it. Sorry, it's a plane going by. Come on. Come on. Helicopter, helicopter. Helicopter, helicopter. Helicopter. Anyways, what was I talking about? I forgot. Yeah, basically I was tired of learning. I decided to take all the things that I've learned about men during my case studies. It was literally a case study dating men. Like, it's like you need to pull out a pen and paper because it's some good stuff. It's some good quality content that comes from dating men. Okay, so I just took all of the things that I learned from dating men and I kind of like wanted to rest and digest on that, so that the next time I decide to allow someone into my life, whoever it is, you know, man, woman, whatever, I will be equipped with all the things I know from, you know, previous romantic relationships, to know what to look, you know, what to stay away from. I know in my heart, like, the next time I decide to date, it's just going to be that much better, just because I have learned from all the things I've experienced, you guys. But also in the same breath, that is not something I'm focused on at all. Like, I'm just taking life as it comes, and I've definitely over the years have become more just like relaxed and stress-free about how my life is going and where I'm headed and things like that, because I just feel in my heart that, you know, what's supposed to be will be in the right timing. And, you know, there's no reason in stressing about things that haven't happened yet. There's no point in stressing about your future. All I can do now is be very comfortable and confident and secure in my now, so I can attract more of that energy. That is something I'm very much working on now. It's just enjoying the now. Like, it's very easy to always be, you know, focused on the future and to be reminiscing on the past and to be stuck on the past, but just being okay in the now. And, you know, it's just such a rewarding experience because it allows you to attract more of that energy. There's literally so much more to life than dating and relationships and men and things like that. There's literally a whole freaking world out there, and instead of us stressing about Johnny Boy, we should be stressing about which country we're about to go to first. All right, that's what we should be stressing about in 2023 and on. Okay. So you guys, I think that's all I really had to talk about. Hopefully y'all related to some of it, and I feel like the future is definitely giving female, okay? And the future is definitely giving, you know, matriarchy, period. And it's just giving healthier, it's giving, I don't know, it's just giving. And I'm glad that more of us are becoming to realize this. And I'm glad that more of us want to, you know, dive more into ourselves and what it is to be a woman and what that means to us and things like that, and dive into our things that come naturally to us as women, you know. So you guys, that wraps up this video. I'm gonna go ahead and skedaddle from this park. It's getting a little cloudy. I think it's gonna rain soon, probably, maybe not. The weather be kind of like changing her mind sometimes. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll definitely be making more of these videos. So give me some feedback. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about being single life, hashtag single, hashtag in a relationship with myself, hashtag men are trash? No, I'm just kidding, y'all. But Emma, yeah, you guys, I will definitely see y'all in the next video. I'm trying to be more consistent with posting and things like that. So you guys, always remember, you know, just take life as it comes sometimes. You know, have your goals, have your plans, but also be in the now and just, you know, take the time out to come to a park and just chill. It's hot though, so I'ma go, but you know, it was good while it lasted. So you guys, without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know the vibes, period. And don't forget to hit that bell notification to let you know when I post again. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. You guys, not the sun wanted to come out while I'm about to leave. Well, maybe that's a good thing, because like I would have been hotter if the sun would have been, if she would have been out the whole time. So I guess that's a good thing. But at the same time, it's just like I wanted this type of quality. Wait, let me fix much. Ain't that? Ooh. It's the sun for me. It's the sun giving me kisses for me. It's the hair for me. It's the trees in the background for me. It's the lips for me. It's the no makeup for me. It's the brown skin for me. It's the bags under my eyes for me, even though I'm not sleepy for me. Period. It's the youth for me. It's the youth for me.